About 2 months after the successful Jihad raid and plundering of a Quraysh caravan at Nakhla, Prophet Muhammad heard that Mecca leader Abu Sufyan was returning from Syria with a large caravan containing money and merchandise. So he summoned his followers and said, "This is the Quraysh caravan containing their property. Go out to attack it. Perhaps God will give it as a prey." The people answered his summons, some eagerly, others reluctantly, because they had not thought that the apostle would go to war. It was the sacred month of Ramadan. According to Ibn Ishaq, Prophet Muhammad set out to attack the caravan with an armed band of 314 Muslims, 83 Meccan and 231 Medinan. Medinan Muslims had resisted participation in Muhammad's violent jihad raids until this point, but lured by the booty that they missed out on from the Nakhla raid, they joined this jihad raid for the first time. Abu Sufyan received news about the advance of Muhammad's army from passing riders, so he rushed forth with his associate Damdam to Mecca to give the news about Muhammad's plan of plundering the caravan. Reaching Mecca, Damdam cried out, "O Quraysh, Muhammad and his companions are lying in wait for your property, which is with Abu Sufyan." The Meccans were already angered by Muhammad's plundering of their caravan at Nakhla and killing one of their men, so they assembled a rescue force of 700 to 1,000 men, with every Meccan family contributing fighters, and set out to save the caravan. Muhammad reached the neighborhood of Badr, which the road between Mecca and Syria passes through. Abu Sufyan's caravan was nearby about this time. He got clues that Muhammad's army was in the vicinity and changed the route and hastened the caravan toward the seashore. Having saved the caravan, he sent forth instruction to the advancing Quraysh army to go back. But Abu Jahl, who was leading the army, refused to retreat. He vowed to reach Badr and hold a celebratory party to declare the might of Quraysh, so that nobody would dare attack caravans in the future. Members of 2 tribes refused to go forward. The rest of the Quraysh army pushed ahead. At Badr, Muhammad sent out spies seeking news of the caravan, who brought the news of the advancing Quraysh army, much larger than his. Alarmed, he immediately called his fighters for consultation. Both the Meccan and the Medinan jihadis gave him firm assurance to fight resolutely alongside him. Encouraged by the assurance, Muhammad started thinking about strategies to confront the Quraysh army. His disciple Al-Hubab advised him that they should camp near the main water well and destroy all other water wells, so that Muslims will have plenty of water, but the Quraysh would have nothing to drink. Ibn Ishaq writes, "The apostle agreed that this was an excellent plan, and it was immediately carried out. The wells were stopped, a cistern was built and filled with water, from which his men replenished their drinking vessels. Prophet Muhammad took position in a safe tent behind his army, guarded by a band of devoted jihadis. On the 17th of Ramadan, both parties came face to face with the Quraysh, having no source of water to drink from. A thirsty Al-Aswad bin Abdul Asad from the Quraysh camp stepped forward and said, 'I swear to God that I will drink from their cistern, or destroy it or die before reaching it.' Muhammad's uncle Hamza killed him as he rushed towards the water cistern. Then Utbah bin Rabia from the Quraysh camp rose up along with his brother Shaiba and son Al-Walid and gave challenge for single combat. 3 Medinan Muslims came forward, but Utbah refused to fight them as there was no feud between them. He called for Muslims of Meccan origin to come forward. At that, Muhammad cried out, 'Arise, O Ubaidah bin Harith, and arise, O Hamza, and arise, O Ali.' Those 3 persons from each side engaged in 1-to-1 battle. Ali and Hamza easily killed their opponent, Al-Walid and Shaiba, but Utbah gave a tough fight to Ubaidah, striking him a fatal blow. To protect Ubaidah, Ali and Hamza treacherously turned their swords on Utbah and killed him. At the treacherous killing of Utbah, large-scale confrontation ensued. Prophet Muhammad incited his jihadis, declaring that whoever dies today, fighting against them with steadfast courage, advancing not retreating, will enter paradise." Hearing this, a young man named Umayyah bin al-Humam, who was eating some dates, exclaimed, "Is there nothing between me and my entering paradise save to be killed by these men?" He threw the dates, seized his sword, and suicidally jumped on the opponents and was slain. Another jihadi named Auf bin Harith asked, "O Apostle of God, what makes the Lord laugh with joy at his servant?" He answered, "When he plunges into the midst of the enemy without mail." Auf immediately threw away the mail coat he was wearing and jumped on the enemy and was slain. To inspire suicidal jihadi zeal among his fighters, Muhammad even said, 70,000 of my people shall enter paradise like the full moon, when he only had 314 fighters on the battlefield. In the battle, the Quraysh were routed. According to Ibn Ishaq, 50 Quraysh fighters were killed and 43 were made captive. The Muslim side lost only 14 jihadis. His real name was Abu Hakam, which means father of wisdom. Muhammad mockingly called him Abu Jahl, which means father of ignorance. Muhammad deemed him the worst enemy of Islam, because he not only opposed Islam, but also had the intellectual prowess to expose Muhammad's fallacies. So Muhammad specifically instructed his jihadis to find out if he was among the dead. Already fatally struck twice during the battle, Abdullah bin Masud found Abu Jahl at his last gasp. He cut off his head and threw his head before the apostle, and he gave thanks to God. Muhammad ordered that the dead bodies of the enemies be thrown into a dirty well. Ibn Ishaq records, "As they threw them into the pit, the apostle stood and said, 'O people of the pit, have you found that what God threatened is true? For I have found that what my Lord promised me is true.' When his disciples reminded him that he was talking to dead people, Muhammad said, 'They hear what I say to them.'" The dead bodies of Umayyah and Ubay, two prominent opponents of Islam in Mecca, were mutilated and then thrown into the well. Clearly, Muhammad's original plan was to plunder the caravan for booty, and quarrels soon started among the jihadis over whatever booty they had captured from defeated Quraysh. Youngsters who actually engaged in fighting claimed all of the booty. Even Prophet Muhammad was accused of stealing a red velvet, and Allah had to reveal a verse to relieve Muhammad of the accusation. Ibn Ishaq records of the quarrel. Then the apostle ordered that everything that had been collected in the camp should be brought together, and the Muslims quarreled about it. Those who had collected it claimed it, and those who had fought and pursued the enemy claimed that had it not been for them, there would have been no booty, and that had they not engaged the enemy, they would not have been able to get anything. While those who were guarding the apostle, lest the enemy should attack him, claimed that they had an equal right. According to Ibn Ishaq, Allah came forward to resolve the quarrel over the booty by revealing an entire chapter of the Quran called Al-Anfal. The first verse of the chapter took away the booty from the bickering jihadis. The verse says, "They ask you about the spoils of war. Say, the spoils are for Allah and the Messenger. So fear Allah and adjust all matters of difference among you, and obey Allah and His Messenger, if you are believers." And how did Allah distribute the booty? And whatever war booty you gain, 1/5 of it is assigned to Allah and His Apostle. Thus, Prophet Muhammad took all the booty in his hand. Then he kept 1/5 of it for himself. The rest was divided among the participating jihadis. After 3 days of stay at Badr, Prophet Muhammad started the return journey to Medina with the captives and booty. On the way, he ordered execution of 2 captives named Uqba bin Abu Mu'ayt and Al-Nadir bin al-Harith, who had opposed Islam in Mecca. Uqba had pleaded, "Who will look after my children, O Muhammad?" "Hell," Muhammad replied. The remaining captives were ransomed for hefty sums, 400 dirhams per captive, according to Abu Dawood. Captive Abu Wada, a rich man, was freed by his son by paying 4,000 dirhams. Even Muhammad's dear uncle, Al-Abbas, who was secretly a Muslim and Muhammad's supporter all along, had to go to Badr under pressure, was not spared of the ransom, even though the jihadis had snatched 20 oaks of gold from him during the battle. The Badr Jihad, in which the Muslims defeated a twice strong opponent force, gave Muhammad the confidence that Allah was helping him, and that he could defeat the Arabs, and established his power and writ over them. So it became regarded as the most glorious jihad expedition in Islam. The question is jihad holy war or plundering raid? Judge it yourself.